Before we get started, I do want to say thank you to EA for giving me an early access copy to the Sims 4 Adventure Awaits expansion pack. I always thought the idea of butterflies were so fascinating that when I was younger, I wanted to become a scientist when I grew up, of understanding the intricate ways of insects, animals, life, everything that it has to offer. But butterflies are so interesting. How they come from a larva to a caterpillar to the cocoon, and then they become a beautiful butterfly at the end of their cycle. And it's just so interesting on how nature is so beautiful and so expansive that I wanted to be a scientist. Even though I'm not a scientist and I'm a YouTuber, but who could still learn science and become a scientist, I thought building a butterfly catcher's house in The Sims 4 with Adventure Awaits was the perfect opportunity to yap more about butterflies and what they have to offer. So I'm literally not joking. Science was one of my favorite subjects growing up in school, from elementary school, middle school, high school. I loved science. Never did any of the dissections because I was not going to smell like anything for lunch the next period. My partner did all the work. I did all the writing and all the note taking. That was my job. Their job was doing the extra hard stuff that I did not want to do. But I love the idea of science, from potion making, of like mixing up different concoctions and like all the little different study habits that I had. I just loved science. And somehow, some way in like high school, I was doing like extra assignments. Like, you have like a textbook in school, like every subject has a textbook, and the teacher would assign homework based off like the ending or the back of the page of the textbook. And they say, do section 2, 3, 4, whatever. I did section 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I was doing extra homework. Even though I did not need to, I just did it. And it wasn't for extra credit. I just had so much fun of like learning and tapping into my scientist side. Because even still in high school, I wanted to become a scientist and like be in that field. But I'm a YouTuber who could still be a scientist and could still go to school to become a scientist. I just think like I'm in this new season of my life where I just didn't want to be that, but I have full respect of people who are scientists and do that for a living and are in that field. It's so fascinating. I remember my very first like presentation that I did, I think in elementary school. I don't think it was for science. It might have been for science. Either way, it was like talking about tornadoes, hurricanes, and squalls. I made like this like trifold presentation. It was like my best presentation ever. I loved it. I loved it. I loved it. My parents still talk about it. I don't know where that thing is at, but I talked about it all the time. Tornadoes, hurricanes, and squalls. I knew about tornadoes and hurricanes, but not squalls. Did not know about that at all. But to kind of get to my point, I just think that science is just so interesting. The weather, the animals, the people, the everything, how life works. It's like wild. And so when they added in butterflies in the mythology of like the study of insects into The Sims 4 with Adventure Awaits, I was like, wait, that's actually kind of cool, because the skill is like not like a very like long big skill, but it's a good way to like understand like the way of a butterfly, how to raise them from a larva to a beautiful butterfly. You can read to them, you can feed them, you can make their habitat more lively. And when you get this pack, you have like this big habitat that you can buy either in build and buy or go to the ranger station in the park area and display it on your home lot. It's like this big gigantic square. But what's really cool about it is that you can place it wherever you want. You can display all of your butterfly and moths in there. They can fly around, sit on the logs, and just like kind of study about them. But of course, if you have like duplicates or you just don't want to keep your butterflies, you can like release them out into the wild. There's like this little flower thing in Gibby Point that you can like take your butterflies to, and they would just like sit there and fly around the flower. And it's so beautiful on how it all works that when I wanted to build a house for like butterfly catchers, I wanted to make it really family centric where the whole family was involved. So I incorporated a lot of different type of butterfly incubators throughout the house. And I think I only added in like 3, I'm pretty sure. At the time of recording this video, the pack is not even out yet. And I've been pre-recording so many different videos for like early access. Mostly build videos and like some things here and there. I think this might be like my last gameplay or like my last early access video before the pack comes out, I think. I can't fully remember. But all I know, I've been having so much fun like playing around with the intricate ways of this pack and what it has to offer and what it brings for me. Because usually whenever packs come out, I always get very scared and concerned about, am I going to actually like this pack for longer than like three weeks, 3 months? I never really know. Like, sure, trailers and gameplay trailers and live streams can give you all the cool ideas of what you can do, but when you have it fully in your own computer with your own two eyes, you got to see it for yourself. And for me, having this pack by itself, I'm actually kind of quite impressed of what it offers, because coming from a family gameplay standpoint, I always judge it on how much family gameplay there is and how much I can utilize that for cross-pack gameplay. And seeing how this will bring a lot of cross-pack gameplay with like occults and Discovery University and Parenthood and growing together, there's new ways to make the family life more wholesome and more exciting and adventurous. So if you want to go on a custom getaway, you could. If you want to go and build your very own daycare or senior center or hotel or music camp, you can do that. Like, the possibilities are literally endless with Adventure Awaits, that I just found myself feeling happy again, and happy that I'm finally able to do something new for a change and experience a new way of playing. Because I have my own current households, as you know, the O'Connors are my ride or die. I love them so, so much that I cannot stop talking about them, and I cannot stop to like playing them. And I have some really good ideas that I want to incorporate with like Adventure Awaits with a music camp for Winston, because he's gonna eventually go to music camp, aka Camp Rock, but in The Sims 4. And even though that we don't have a lot of musical instruments and we can't really form a band in The Sims 4 like we could do in The Sims 3, we can simulate the best way possible. We can use Get Together for the club system to make a band and do all those band activities. So there's that. But I think what I really loved about Adventure Awaits, especially when building this house, I just liked how everything matched. I liked how everything was like simple and easy. We didn't really get a lot of build and buy objects with this pack, which I wasn't really like expecting to get much, but I always thought, an expansion pack we get a lot of build and buy. But I think they have like this 1/3, like 1/3 is like gameplay, 1/3 is build and buy, and 1/3 is cast. It's like split down 3 ways, where the cast is really nice. I love the cast. Build and buy is like, it's just there. There's no new landscaping in this pack whatsoever. There really isn't any new toddler related things we can utilize. However, what I learned is if your toddlers have level 2 in their movement skill, they can actually climb up on the modular playground equipment, which is really nice and handy. But there's nothing for infants. There's nothing for really much for toddlers other than that. And like maybe they can play around with certain things, but not as much. So I think the big focus was like on like kids and up, which makes total sense, because the whole getaway thing is like centered around whoever wants to go on an adventure. And I've already done Camp Gibby Gibby, and I was very surprised that The Sims actually followed the schedule. They did what they were supposed to do. I had autonomy full on through my gameplay, and they actually paid attention, followed the schedule, and did that thing on that schedule. I was shocked, because normally Sims do not follow the schedule whatsoever, and they'll do whatever they want, however they want, and then go about their day. But I'm quite pleased so far, and I am looking forward to playing around with all the expansion packs, so that way I can like get my little grubby hands on all the extra stuff, especially with the super early, like the early access with all the packs, so I can really get into all the cross pack gameplay, what it has to offer. So I want to see how the career itself, the parkour career, works with Discovery University, and also like the skills work with Discovery University. I'm wondering if there is like an elective class that your Sims can take based on the skill, or if there's a certain type of degree path that your Sims can take based off of the career itself. Because every career is always different, and usually every skill is very different. I don't think they have all of the skills as an elective, but it helps to have them as like there. So I'm thinking that there will be like a park worker degree path, or some type or degree that you can take to work in that career, because that career alone is the most hardest career I've ever seen. Like, you're either working on a Thursday and you don't come back home until like a Sunday. Like you're there literally all weekend, and it's like you're just basically gone. So if you ever have a sim working at that career, make sure you have 2 sims at all times in your household, or you'll never see your sim for the like 3-4 days straight, for several hours. Like when they're a park worker, they are a park worker. It reminds me of that one video game called Firewatch, where you're like this character who is a fire watcher lookout person in the woods, and you're there for who knows how many days, but something sinister is happening, something creepy is happening. So you're like delving into like understanding like what's going on in the woods. Something crazy is about to go down, but I just don't know what it is. So it reminds me of that a little bit. But I'm really excited to see but I'm really excited to see how expansive it can get over time, especially as we get more packs. Because normally whenever we get more packs, it's either going to help it or hurt it. And so I'm hoping that they do add in a lot of new tangible skills that we can take with us for the long haul. And I like that kids can actually focus on their child skills and adult skills at the same time. The one issue that I definitely did have, or several issues I have with this pack, is that I wasn't able to find any of the NPC sims that are centered focus around this pack, like the plum bird or the lost adventurer or the butterfly conservationist. I couldn't really find them as much throughout Gibby Point, but I was eventually able to find them. It just took some time, but I found them. And then I think also too, what was interesting is that the geyser wasn't really erupting as much for me, or if it did, I just didn't see it. My camera was shaking. And then the archery skill wasn't working for the kids until they mastered their motor skill at level 10 to then start achieving their archery skill. But that just might have been just because I have like super early access and the pack is not out yet. So by the time the pack comes out, all those bugs will hopefully be fixed by then. And I'm really hoping that's the case because that would be great. But I'm just like so scared because like all I know, I'm scared but excited at the same time because so many modders are going to have a field day with this pack with all the intricate ways you can like run a custom venue, getaways, the skills, the aspirations, and just the imaginary friends in general. They are the most creepiest thing I've ever seen in my entire life, but they're so adorable. I don't know why. I never liked them in The Sims 3 because they didn't have a face. They were more like a sleep paralysis demon. But yeah, I love them either way. So anyway, they can stay as long as they want. Just don't look at me at 3 a.m. while I'm sleeping, then we'll be okay, you know? But lo and behold, this house is basically almost done. We're about to go into the game and check out the build in real time. But I will say, at the end of the day, this pack is pretty nice for what it offers. And I'm looking forward to like playing more with it by itself, but also with the cross-pack gameplay. I think when I can come back from Ohio and like all my other extra travels, I should have more time to really delve into this pack even more and get more insight if it's worth buying. But as of right now, I would say this pack is worth buying because I've been having a lot of fun with it. I haven't really seen anything that was like game breaking that was too overwhelming for me to figure out. I think because I took my time with it and I did have extra time to play around with the pack with my early access. So I got a chance to like really understand the intricate ways of how this pack has to offer and also how could I break my game. But at the end of the day, the pack is a pack. Love it, hate it, like it, whatever you want. I like it. I'm looking forward to playing more with it. And hopefully by the time the pack comes out, we'll see how the cross-pack gameplay has to be. But I'm going to go into the game and show you all the build in real time, so that way you can kind of get a gist of what I was doing and how I was doing it. So now that we're in the game, this is what my house looks like. We're on a 40 by 30 lot on the Prospector's Paradise lot, right next to Buddy Scoop's stall over here that lasts Monday to Sunday, 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. We've got crystal painting over here. We've got a fishing spot over here. The Jellyfish Lagoon is over here in this corner. It's just a good spot to live in Gibby Point. We're in the Crystal Valley area, to be exact, in case you wanted to know where we're at. But it's not a big house, it's not too big, it's not too small, but the size still holds a family of like 4 or 5. But I made it for like a family of 3 because it's like a single parent with 2 kids, a teen and a child, but they all love bug collecting, more specifically butterfly catching. They also raise their own caterpillars to butterflies as well. But Over here is like the side yard, backyard. I wanted to use all the new playground modular equipment, so I didn't want to make it all samey. So this part is like more tan and white, and this one is over here more colorful and McDonald's-esque vibe. But I think the modular playground equipment is like my favorite thing about this pack. I also added in the new swing that we got. I added in some planter boxes, some seating, some trash cans. The pool area was a must-have. I added in the new water slide and also the diving board. There's actually 2 different types of diving boards. You have this one, you have this one, and then you have this one. So there's like 4 different kinds. Oh, you also have this one right here as well. This one looks more rusty looking and very unsafe. Like, I literally would not step on this one if I were you. If you step on it, it will break because it's creaky, rusty, and made of wood. But as we make our way to the front of the house, you can see that we have this gigantic habitat. Normally, you'll be able to place different butterflies and moths in here. You can either get them from build and buy mode or through the ranger station in Gippy Point. But I think it's like really cool that it's this big. You can add your butterflies and stuff in here, see them flap their wings. Normally, they'll be on like the log area or like the little leaves right here, but it's still very cool that you can display them outside or inside of your house. It doesn't normally have to be outside, but if you want it outside, you can, especially if you're making some type of like zoo in The Sims 4 or like an insect zoo. Place them on the inside, you're good to go. If you ever played Planet Zoo before, you kind of want to replicate that vibe if you want to. But on this side, we have some bicycles. We have our mailbox, of course. I added in a chess table, so that way if your Sims wanted to work on their logic skill, they could. Some seating in the front. This is our little foyer area. And I was having a little bit of a hard time of figuring out what I wanted to do because I only had base game and adventure awaits, and there wasn't really a lot of like build and buy stuff I could really utilize. So I was doing a lot of repeating throughout this entire build. But we just got your mainstay, you know, hallway table, your mirror, your security alarm, the new clock that we got, which I'm gonna move it over here. So that way it's like not clipping to the door. We've got some seating over here. You've got your main living room area. And we actually got 3 different types of fireplaces. And I was kind of like going back and forth which I wanted to use. So we have this one over here. We also have this modern looking one from Adventure Awaits. And then we have this one right here from Adventure Awaits as well. So there's 3 different types of fireplaces you could choose from, but I thought for this house, this one made the most sense. Plus, I raised and enlarged this small TV and then hung it right on this ledge right here, so that way your Sims can watch TV or play video games, which I did include the new media gaming console, so that way you can play some retro games if you wanted to. I also added a guitar, another hallway table, a stereo, some books. I also added in Mr. Curly Q over here, the imaginary doll who looks very suspicious and scary right on the floor. But we got one of those. And then I also added in like a little pet bowl right here, so that way if your Sims are doing the creature hunter aspiration, you'll eventually have to buy a fish and then name it. And then on this side we have the kitchen and dining room area. It was gonna be a living room at first, but then I thought last minute, if you're gonna have a backyard with a nice little pool and everything, you gotta at least have a kitchen and dining room in the same space in a big area on the side of the house. So I decided to go with this layout. It made perfect sense, and I'm not the best at open floor plan, but also too, we didn't get that much kitchen appliances or like new stuff to incorporate into the kitchen. So having only this being the kitchen and this being the dining room made a lot of sense. But I did incorporate the new blender that we got to make smoothies, the new mini fridge, also the appliance cart that you can move around in live mode if you wanted to. We're currently in build mode, but this does move in live mode if you want to move it wherever you want, rotate it, size it down, do all the things. I did add a microwave on top of it, so that way you have enough counter space to cook on. We added in the postcard bulletin board over here. I also incorporated the new chairs, base game table, the TV tray, the caterpillar incubator so you can grow your caterpillars, from caterpillars to beautiful butterflies. And then on the other side is the kids' bedroom. I added in the new bunk beds, the nightstand, also another caterpillar incubator, the new dresser, and then some decals on the wall. So that way it looks like your Sims are very like worldly travelers, adventurers, and they just love working out and being out in nature more than indoors. So I incorporated as much as I possibly could with only using base game and adventure awaits, but you kind of get the gist of what I was trying to do. They do have their own bathroom that they do share. Of course, they have a tub, toilet, and sink. And then they have a hallway bathroom with the same kind of layout, same type of appliances. This is the parents' bedroom. They have a double bed with their own TV and their dresser and mirror. And I didn't incorporate too many things into this parents' room because I felt like they were mostly outside and they didn't want to have too many like prized possessions on the inside of their home, especially if they're not going to live here for that long. But I wanted to make the best of it throughout the entire house of adding in everything I could possibly think of from Adventure Awaits and also incorporate that family dynamic value that I wanted to bring. And I feel like I kind of accomplished that throughout this house. But either way, friends, I do hope you all enjoyed it. Let me know down in the comments below of what you thought of today's build, especially your thoughts on Adventure Awaits thus far, if you've seen any videos from Early Access, and if you're going to get your hands on it at some point soon. But as always, go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe. Make sure you turn on that notification bell and check out my podcast wherever you get your podcast. And I will see you all next time. Bye!